to our live extravaganza to springboard us into InsurTech Insights coming up in June. I have got a big group of top names within the insurance industry to start bringing in for everybody to join into the conversation, give you a taste of the types of content that you're going to be seeing, and also get you really excited to join us. Couple of questions or things to cover before we get started. Number one, I did, in fact, raid my children's jewelry box for my outfit today. And you're going to be seeing a lot of bright colors and things to get you really excited as we start seeing the springtime and summertime vibes coming our way. And we're also going to be doing a giveaway, which I've been teasing through the posts, and a very special gift for everybody who's joining us live for the event as well. So I'm going to be putting a comment into the chats here in just a moment, and there's going to be a couple of things that I need everybody to do. So number one is going to be to get your emoji fingers ready and start putting that flower and bright and exciting energy into the chat as we get going with our live stream here. So make sure that you're putting in flowers and fireworks or whatever you think from an emoji standpoint is going to get you ready and fired up in the chat as well. We want people to really engage with us. I know we're virtual, but it's a live event for a reason. We want everybody to engage with us as much as possible. I see comments coming in already. Tell us where you're coming or where you're joining from, who you're most excited to see speak today. And again, those emojis into the chat. And the other thing that you could do is wish my 7-year-old a happy birthday. She would be pleased to come home to a flood of different comments from people on the internet saying happy birthday. If you want to be entered into the drawing for the free ticket, which is a value of almost $3,000, there's a second step. So you need to put your flowers into the emoji, and then that post that I said I'm going to be sharing in the chat in just a moment, I want you to reshare that chat. What we want to do is get the internet and LinkedIn flooded with this image of InsurTech Insights in New York to get people really excited and drive towards the goal of bringing 6,000 people together in New York in a couple of weeks when we hit June. So I already, again, see bunches of comments coming in, and I'm really bad at doing two things at once. So I can't go look at all of that while I'm talking to everybody extensively. But I'm going to get that into the chat in just a moment. But so for my first guest, I'm going to bring Veronica on, and we're going to talk a little bit about, so there's InsurTech Insights, and then there's also this really cool thing that's running in tandem called InsurTech Week. So Veronica, I'm going to bring you on and have you join me to talk a little bit about InsurTech Week and tell everybody what it's about. But before we do that, can you give everybody an introduction?
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. Delighted to be here. I'm Veronica Lake. And as Emma mentioned, I look after InsurTech Week. I've been working for InsurTech Week for the last month, and I'm extremely happy and glad to be supported by such an amazing team. First and foremost, InsurTech Insights, who are part of InsurTech Week and the biggest event we have across the week. So
so now I want you to dive into what is InsurTech Week and what are some of the things that people can start to look forward to, especially if they come into New York a little bit early.
Absolutely. So what is InsurTech Week? I like to define it as the InsurTech version of Fashion Week. And by that, I mean a week-long series of events by and for the InsurTech community. So the next InsurTech Week will be happening in New York. We commencing Monday, the 5th of June and ending on Friday, the 9th of June. So I want to give you a little bit of an understanding what it is, what we are all about before I dig into the nitty-gritty of it. So we are all about giving delegates options where to connect. We want to facilitate those spontaneous drinks that happen around and after a big conference, in our case, InsurTech Insights, by giving it a little bit of a structure. So we convene all those events that will happen across the week in our platform, in our website, insurtechweek.com, and allow everyone to see it, to access them, to apply, to attend, so that we make sure that we maximize delegates' time and no one misses out on what's happening in that week. So to give you a tangible and practical example, the last InsurTech Week happened in London last March, and we had over 25 events listed in the website, which attracted over 2,000 applicants to attend those events. So now you may be asking, what is it to expect in New York. What will InsurTech Week New York look like? So, alongside deep dives and think tanks focusing on different aspects of the insurance world, hosted by the likes of Benekiva, Autonomy, WorldPay by FIS, and many more, we will also have activities that are a little bit more unusual. For example, there's a running club hosted by InsurTech Insights and supported by Google Cloud as well, who is also in this LinkedIn Live today. Hi, Nigel. Then we have competing with the running club, a cycling club happening at the same time in Central Park as well, sponsored by Rio 20. I'm sure Danny is here listening to this live as well. But for those that are a little bit more into Zen and relaxing, get-togethers, we have Yoga with Newton, sponsored by Optimity. Jane, I'm sure you're here. And then all sorts of cocktails and happy hours. So we have cocktails served at the Cornell Club Library, thanks to Maptics. Jacqueline will tell you more about this later on in this live. And the exhibition, we even have an art exhibition with art presented by insurers themselves. So it's art created by them and basically talking about how art helped them navigate challenges in the insurance world. So InsurTech New York is delivering that, and I cannot wait to see more on this. But of course, there's more. There's more, Emma. There's like, I have 25 events to get on and have you get all excited. But
we have Tony and David from InsurTech New York joining to hopefully touch on a couple more of those and some of the events that they're involved in bringing forward. I just want to make it abundantly clear to everybody joining that I am team yoga versus team run a 5K. And for anybody that's going to keep posting these running things and asking me to join, I don't need the entire InsurTech community to see me bright red faced and huffing and puffing behind all of you guys. So you can come join me at yoga and we can all be friends there. And I will happily cheer you on and drink coffee with you after you run. But running is a solo activity in my house because I am not as intensely fit as some of these runners within the InsurTech community.
Yeah, and as you saw, we have something for everyone here. I mean, the InsurTech community is extremely creative when it comes to what should we put together, during this week. There's even an experiential event hosted by Agent Sync. It's very secretive and nothing has been put live yet, but stay tuned for that one as well. So as I said, there's so much to choose from, over 25 events. I have forgotten actually happy hours because we are in New York, right? And people are like, yes, this is all fun and good. Activities are great, but what about sunset happy hours on rooftop to, really experience the skyline? We have you covered. There are over 10 different events on New York rooftop bars. So you will actually struggle to choose which one to attend to. So
well,
as I said, yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I was going to say, thank you for joining me to give us a taste of it to get us started. And again, anybody that's got questions about InsurTech Week, throw them into the chat. Veronica's still going to be with us even when she's not on screen, so she can help answer any of those questions, or feel free to reach out to her directly about that. And if you haven't already, I did put the link into the chat of the event. I'm going to go over to the live stream on InsurTech Insights and add it there as well. But remember, if you want to come join us and you want the chance to get a VIP ticket for the conference, throw some emojis into the chat and make sure that you share that post. It's a really easy threshold to get to come join us for free and stay a part of the event with us. So Veronica, thank you so much for joining us and being such a big part of getting this event off the ground that we're here today for. So I'm going to send you on your way, and I'm going to bring Alexis on. And Alexa, I got to actually click the right button. Here we are. And we're kind of like on a color scheme here today.
We are. Listen, I'm excited. We've been counting down to this.
I know. I'm so happy that you're here with us. So before we get started with the question that I've got for you, can you please give everybody a real quick introduction?
Absolutely. So I am Alexis Sierra Vaughn, AVP of Agency Marketing for Cowbell, a leading standalone cyber insurance provider. Really excited about what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be on two different panels, which I'm excited about. So you'll get to hear from our co-founder and COO, Trent Cooksley, on a panel about cyber insurance earlier in the day. And then you'll get to hear from me as I moderate the emerging technologies panel as well later in the day. We'll talk a little bit about underwriting. So excited to be here, and thanks for having me, Emma.
I'm determined not to come back on and mute today, but then that means that my reaction time is a little slower. But I realize
You are good.
So you are going to be speaking on that panel about technology that's revolutionizing commercial insurance. And so what I want you to dive into a little bit is to give everybody a taste of the type of conversations they're going to be seeing at ITI and the insights that are going to be coming out of it. So can you share a little bit about what you think is going to come forward within the commercial space, specifically in underwriting?
Absolutely. So some of the emerging technologies that we're going to talk about on this panel are going to be things like AI. I mean, artificial intelligence is a extremely hot topic. So of course we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how we're using it to enable underwriters and also to help eliminate biases in the underwriting process. This will help streamline how underwriters are getting things out to the market, getting policies bound and issued. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And I'm sure we're also going to cover everybody's new favorite hot topic, Chat GPT, and how insurers are also using this new and emerging technology to help enable their underwriters and maybe even enhance both the broker and the customer experiences. So I think we're going to have a pretty well-rounded conversation. We have some amazing people on the panel. So make sure that when you're registering for the conference, that you add that emerging technologies panel to your list of things to do and places to be, because you don't want to miss it. It's going to be a dynamic conversation and an amazing panel.
So I've got a follow-up question for you real quick, and I'm springing this on you. So, and my cat is apparently tacking things to get something shiny out of a toy bin. Live, everybody. But so what I was going to say, so I actually just spoke on a panel while we were at Hartford together on Chat GPT, but how do you see it coming into the underwriting space?
Oh my goodness. So what I see it is more as kind of like we're not looking at it in a way of maybe I know that a lot of underwriters are a little worried about it answering questions that have to do with underwriting and then it possibly giving you the wrong response. Imagine that broker coming to that Chat GPT and actually asking them questions specifically about policy coverages and things like that. I think that we'll be able to get it to a place where we will be able to do that and feel comfortable in it. But I mean, I think it's going to be different for every, and I mean, every insurer is going to kind of look at utilizing this in different ways. For instance, we announced at Cowbell the Mood GPT. We're going to be using that to help enable our underwriters and our brokers to kind of help enhance those experiences overall. So I'm excited to see how everyone is looking to use Chat GPT when it comes to underwriting. I think it's going to be a little different for everybody.
Well, thank you very much, Alexis, for coming and giving us a taste of what you're going to be bringing forward in June. I did see a comment come through. I think it was from Amy to see the cat. My husband has come and ushered the cat away so that we don't have any more incidences. Anybody that knows me knows that my advice to everybody is don't get a bonded pair of kittens. It's a poor decision. But Alexis, thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to
Thank you, Emma,
and keep the fun going here. Have a wonderful day, and
you too.
Ask any questions that you've got to Alexis in the chat. All right, Mark, you are in the stream, and it's your turn to give everybody a quick introduction before we dive into the question that I've got for you.
Sure. Mark Ryder, I head up innovation for NFP. NFP is a global insurance broker with expertise in all areas: employee benefits, property and casualty, retirement, wealth management, executive benefits. So my responsibility there is to help drive our digital transformation and keep us current with what's happening in the market around technology platforms such as things like Chat GPT. So thanks for having me.
All the animals want to be a part of our chat.
That would happen, right?
Well, thank you so much for being here, Mark. And you came after my heart with this question when we were all going around figuring out what we were going to be talking about. So obviously, you're in an innovation role. That means technology in a lot of scenarios. And you're excited about what there is on the technology side. But similar to me, you know that there's a lot more to digital transformation than just the technology. So there's people, there's process, there's technology. Can you kind of start to unpack a little bit more of what that means and what surrounds just the tech that we're constantly talking about at these events?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an area that's very much ignored, often ignored, and it's probably the reason why transformation, what is it, a 70% failure rate out there in corporate transformation. Talking about changing people is not as sexy as AI, machine learning, and all the awesome things technology can do. But it certainly is critical to advance initiatives. I think in an organization, in order for transformation to take place, you have to have the buy-in. We're talking about, I think transformation happens inside out, not outside in. So if your folks are not bought into the change, if you think you're going to magically bring in technology, and there's certainly enough of it out there to be able to bring in to solve the problems. But if you're going to bring that in first and then go look for the problems to solve for, there's going to be trouble. You're going to need to get the buy-in from the folks within the organization, those that are executing on their day-to-day jobs in order to really drive that transformation. I'm going to use a real life or real time, not really real life example. I don't know, Emma, if you watch Ted Lasso. Many people do. I know it's a great show. If you're not watching it, you should check it out. But on a recent episode, there's a lot of great messages within that show. But on a recent episode, and sorry for a spoiler alert for anybody that isn't caught up, the team, is knee deep in a really long losing streak, and things needed to change. And Coach Ted Lasso, he had an idea that he wanted to implement that was fundamental change in the way in which they played the game of soccer. But as opposed to just going in and suggesting that he had the answer and laying out a step-by-step process to get them to this new style of play, he laid breadcrumbs. He talked about things and he really challenged the team to think differently, ultimately bringing them down the pipe to have their own aha moment. And it wasn't until that aha moment, it wasn't until Jamie Tart and the rest of the team realized that he was a better center mid than a forward and that he needed to be the general, that change started to happen. So I think our job as transformational leaders, as innovation leaders, is yes, we need to stay in tune with what's happening. We need to understand what technology's out there that can solve for problems. But our job is to be able to lead our folks and the people within our business down to their aha moment. So I think if you can get there, the quicker they get there, the better. And the more aha moments you have throughout the organization, the more successful you're going to be.
I love that idea of the aha moment because I always talk about the why and what's in it for me, but I think that's a different way of putting it that maybe is a bit more tangible as opposed to trying to get into somebody's head and figure out all of their motivators. Just saying something in a way that clicks for somebody and helps them get to that resolution of why it matters and why they should be a part of it, I think is so critical.
Yeah, I think you need the why. I think you need to start with a why because not everybody's motivated by the same things. And I think if we think that everybody in our organization is motivated by driving margin, we're kidding ourselves. So you have to have that, but then everybody I think is going to come to their realization of why we need to be doing what we're doing at different times. And that's that aha moment.
For anybody that's curious, before I send Mark on his way, the pattern on his shirt is flowers.
It is.
He's very on theme. It's just a little small, not as ostentatious as.
I tried. I thought it was more spring than summer.
I think it's perfect. But Margot and I, who I'm about to bring on, aren't always known for our subtlety. So I think that's the other side of this is we tend to be a little bit more loud, and yours is much more probably appropriate.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Mark. Stay in the chat. Anybody that's got questions for him, feel free to throw them in there. Otherwise, come join us. I put the link in there again for a free ticket. You can register that way. Or if you stay on until the end, I'll have a discount code for everybody. But we'd love to have you there in person and be able to recreate this moment with everybody there. So have a wonderful day, Mark. And Margot, I'm bringing you on. Hello.
Did somebody say loud? What? No?
I said it. We're not known for our subtlety, but I don't think
No.
that there's anything wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. No.
Before I dive into the question that I've got for you, Margot, can you give everybody a quick introduction?
Sure. My name is Margot Giles. I am the CEO of Iris InsurTech, and we are a distribution platform ushering in all of this new technology and bringing it down to distribution. So agents, brokers, wholesalers. And I have been in insurance for almost 15 years as a broker and an agency owner myself. So bringing a lot of perspective, I think, to this talk.
You do have a lot of perspective and really great fashion. So
Thank you.
That's a big part of the reason that you're here too. So there's this adage, like age-old question, I think, of build versus buy. And from my experience outside of insurance and in insurance, I think insurance has a propensity to opt towards build more frequently than other industries. So can you talk a little bit about, from your perspective, what types of questions or considerations do carriers need to take when they're looking at that back and forth between build versus buy?
I mean, it's an interesting dichotomy, right? Because the first thing I always ask is, why do you feel like you need to build? We've had technology for 40, 50 years now in InsurTech. So like, why do we have to move towards this build mentality? And I mean, I think we all know that it's because legacy doesn't really provide or hasn't really moved in step with technology as it's gone through the decades. So in my perspective, it's build versus buy. And I personally, in our insurance companies, have gone through this. So I have been on both sides. I have been a consultant that has built proprietary software. And then I've also been the consumer that has purchased legacy. And it's a really interesting movement. So, I mean, I think what happens is you get into this idea of, okay, we're an insurance company, but now we're going to pivot and put on our P&L to become a software company. And I think a lot of times the pitfalls with that are, this budget is usually underprepared. The scale in which it takes, it's a forever project. Software is forever changing, support, implementation, adoption. Like, these things are secondary to sort of the grandiose idea that we're just going to build this amazing system. And I think what happens is, and I think Mark said it was like a 70% failure rate when you get into some of these innovation initiatives. I think it's the lack of preparedness that insurance companies are not taking the realization that they're actually becoming software companies when they start something like build. So that makes sense. Yeah.
Well, I'm just really slow with my unmuting today, and I've made I've made it my directive. I'm not coming on like last time, muted 7 times. No, and I think there's a lot to unpack there. And you've said it, like, your perspective of having been on both sides of it, I think is really powerful, because there's a lot of people that have only been on the side of buying, not having built solutions out. And one last thing that I want to do while we've got a moment is you're also going to be there under Iris for the first time. So can you give everybody, we've got a minute or two here before I bring on my next guest. Can you give everybody a taste of what your new endeavor looks like?
Oh my God, it's so exciting. So, so we're really trying to change the way fundamentally that we're looking at insurance as far as like platform and software operations go. So we're taking the focus back to the customer and the consumer, and also with the employee. So I think in digital transformation, we've talked about this, Emma, before, that a lot of times we're focused on margin, or we're focused on insureds as far as what we're building the software towards. And we kind of forget that the software, especially internally, is made for our employees, for the users of the system internally within a company. And so we're taking that, like, how do we onboard? How do we train? As people leave insurance, we have to entice a new group of people to come in. How can we make that an easier process? And I think, to go back to Mark's point, is like, how do we get the aha moment? How do we have the software become what people crave to use, and it's a tool that they want to use and look forward to using every day, and they have their own aha moments? So we're not like beating them over the head with, use this software, here's your process, here's how we have to train you. It's something that they want to take on their own. And so we're really focused on doing that at Iris. And then also to prep the scene, right? To prepare insurance companies to be able to deploy things like AI, whether that's generative AI, large language model AI that's helping with, coverage discovery or policy checking. Or it's what we're seeing now in AI, which is like agent AI. Like, how do we have an AI that's actually going to take the user from the beginning of their workday and push them through workflow and be there with them to complete some of these mundane tasks within the system itself. So that's the focus that we're looking towards. And I'm really excited to show everybody what that looks like, because we've never seen it before, especially in insurance.
Which is why I wanted to give you a moment.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us. I do got to keep things going. I've got a packed schedule. So if you've got questions for Margot, throw them into the chat, reach out to her specifically. And if you're not already, give her a follow along with all of the rest of our panelists. And now I'm bringing on Miss Jackie. Hello, how are you? Look at that flower print. I'm feeling the colors today. I love it.
And I have flowers in the back somewhere.
Oh, there you go. So before we get started with the question that I've got for you, can you give everybody a real quick introduction?
Sure. So I actually started my career in the technology with IBM before I joined the insurance industry over 2 decades ago. And I have held business executive and board level position in the insurance brokerage in France, in the United States, in Portugal, in Brazil. In 2019, I left the brokerage industry and I jumped on a new challenge, Maptix, which is an InsurTech company. I co-founded, and we use geospatial analytics for property risk exposure management. So basically, we help insurer to compute premiums and project losses with more accuracy.
Here I go again, slow to my button clicking. Well, thank you for joining us. And if everybody who joined us at the very beginning saw Veronica talking all about InsurTech Week, I want to talk a little bit about the event that you guys are putting on and a little bit more about maybe the value that you see from like being a founder of an InsurTech in that week. So can you tell everybody about what your event is going to be?
Sure. So on the InsurTech Week, to start with, I think it's a must attend for us because it brings together insurers, InsurTechs, investors, and adjacent service companies. And because New York is a significant insurance market hub, this InsurTech Week will attract risk professionals and property insurance experts who are our core target audience. And as an InsurTech company, during this week, our objective is really to meet and raise visibility of our solution to potential clients and strategic partners. I like to say that as a co-founder, I really thrive to make a meaningful contribution to the insurance industry. And I want to come up with something that I can be proud of and that is worth fighting for, because it's hard to be an entrepreneur. And that is what motivates us and the team. And this means having both a product and building meaningful partnership. And this is why we are organizing a private cocktail event on June 6th at the Cornell Club, because, we operate in a very specific segment of this industry, and networking is the only way for us to grow the business. And I want to say it's probably the best part of my job, actually.
So I've got some links coming in from Veronica for anybody that's interested. Putting it up on the screen doesn't do anybody much good. So copy and paste that link to look at joining the event. I will be there to join you guys as well. But thank you so much for coming and talking with us a little bit about InsurTech Week. And I'm going to say this to everybody. I'm so excited to see you in person in a couple of weeks. So I'm going to take you off and bring Lisa on to keep our live stream going.
Awesome.
Oh, I got too happy with my button and I cut her off there. Sorry about that. Hello,
you can't
Lisa.
cut me off. The trucker hats don't get cut off, Emma.
No, look at that hat. How
wait,
fancy.
hold on. I got to get in. Got my floral ring going. Got the earrings.
So much white and flowers.
And muchacho, more. It's the theme of the week. InsurTech.
So before we get to the question that I've got for you, Lisa, I need everybody who's on joining us to chime in on the comments on this. So yesterday, there was this big comment train that started about our matching trucker hats and whether people would want to be a part of our nature exploring trucker hat wearing gang and get something branded.
But it's called, it kind of reminds me of PYT, and I'm aging myself by saying pretty young thing. PYT,
Hey,
pretty young thing.
Who
But hold
doesn't know
on.
Michael Jackson?
It now has a name thanks to Nicole.
Yes.
PHG.
There we go.
The Trucker Hat Gang.
Everybody let us know if that's something that we should put together, whether it's with like a pre-order for people to order them before they come and come visit us, get your hats and come be a part of it. Let me know, because I got to measure the excitement and whether this is worth the effort and the endeavor. So tell us
I just have to amplify right here. What she's really saying is, don't even remotely tell us you have FOMO if you don't message us right now and say you want a hat. The hats are.
You get to be a part of it. Okay, so then, Lisa, I don't know if many people need an introduction, but can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, and then we'll dive into your question.
Sure. Hi, Lisa Wardlaw, 360 Digital Immersion. Nice to be here with you all today. Digital strategy and focus on all things InsurTech. So awesome to be here, Emma.
Okay, so my question is really easy to you, Lisa. You've got a keynote that's going to be a part of ITI. Can you give everybody a small little taste of what they're going to get as a part of that keynote heading into the event?
Yeah, so first of all, I'm so honored to be able to have a fireside chat with none other than Bill Pappas from MetLife. I guess a little secret, Emma, that it's kind of like find the thread if you watch this live. Bill and I both are connected in, ultimately it's like 7 degrees connection, but how we both worked in a dotted line and we're drawn to work for in the Jack Welch environment. He will, I won't spill the beans. He will tell you that, but I'll say that he worked much more closely, i.e. directly with Jack Welch. I went to work for one of Jack Welch's heir apparents. And you can probably guess, given that I live in Atlanta, that I did that for the Home Depot. But Bill and I are going to take the stage and really cover, technology as a tool for enabling customer obsession. And I love the word. We're going to really get deep on customer obsession and what we're bringing to the industry. I'm super, super, super excited that we're part of the InsurTech Insights really featuring life insurance as well. So making sure that we're really bringing life insurance to the table because, one of the big things about digital is it's not just property and casualty, but life, we do a lot of digital transformation as well. So super excited about that. I've got 2 other quick things though. Emma, of course, it's all about the trucker hats and joining the trucker hat gang. I'll be there the whole week. So anybody who's coming, it's not just a day or 2 days. Activities and events starting on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the whole week. I'm trying to connect to Margot Giles so I can ride in on the chopper with her. But there's an InsurTech Israel delegation that will be coming. We'll be doing a day before event on June 6th. Monday, there's an event. Wednesday, you heard it here. There is an Underground Punks and Pinstripes event, and both Gary Haberman and Greg Larkin will be featured just hot off the press. They're going to be doing a talk on stage at InsurTech Insights, but join us for the Punks and Pinstripes Underground event. And then, of course, just like I just heard Jacqueline talking about, there's lots of events going on Tuesday, from Maptic's cocktail party. I'm hosting a parametric event with Autonomy. I'll also be doing a parametric panel at InsurTech Insights. And Emma, just lots going on.
So Margot has entered the chat and asked if there's a way for us to get a flower crown and a hat. So maybe we'll have to incorporate.
Well, we could do the flower.
And incorporate a flower in the design. It's still a new concept.
Margot, come on, where's your glue gun?
Any other ideas? Put them into the chat. And Megan said it also in the chat, but a whole week with Lisa. Who doesn't want that?
Well, a lot of people, including my husband. I'm joking. That's why I travel.
After seeing you in Hartford in person, I've said this to Megan too, the event season spoils me because I get to be with all of my friends in one place. And I also took a screenshot, so I'll have to put it in later, but of the backstage right now and like all of the greatness within our industry that's sitting backstage waiting to come talk to everybody. So thank you so much, Lisa, for joining us. She will be in the chat. Throw whatever questions you've got her way there. And if you're not already, make sure you make your way over and follow her.
Thanks,
And
Emma.
Megan and I have been continuing to sprinkle in the link to the post that you need to reshare on LinkedIn. We want everybody to know that there's a great event coming, and we want the opportunity to give away a ticket that's almost worth $3,000. So who doesn't want to come?
Get that. Don't complain if you don't like try to get that free ticket. And it's hopefully easier to get than Taylor Swift tickets. So come on, people.
I think we've still like probably got a lower barrier of entry, but someday we will be harder than Taylor Swift to get a hold of. But thank you, Lisa. I'm going to bring Bobby on. Have a wonderful day. Okay, Bobby. Welcome to the live stream. How are you? Here, we'll do this.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad. I know we were having some technical difficulties, so I'm glad that we got you here, got you going. I've had a couple of those moments before where you're like eagerly trying and the internet and the technology don't work out.
It's just a spinning circle, and I'm like, oh no, Emma, I'm not going to make it.
But we're here, and now we get the chance to chat. So before I ask you the question that I've got for you, can you give everyone an introduction?
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Bobby Calise, currently leading the growth team at Coterie Insurance. Super passionate about just pushing our industry forward with technology and innovation. So I'm excited to talk with you all. I'm excited to be in my new role. I guess it's a newer role with Coterie. And I'm really looking forward to New York. These kind of events really just like get my juice flowing. They fill my cup. So super excited. And Emma, thanks for having me today.
Of course. Now I'm going to put you on the spot. This is not rehearsed, everybody. She doesn't know this is coming at her. But when I was on your podcast, I got asked what my walk-on song would be. So Bobby, what is your walk-on song so I can have it ready for ITI?
So you'll probably have to do the non-explicit version, Emma, just to protect yourself and the conference. But it's a song by Juvenile. And the non-explicit title is Back That Thing Up.
So that's my introduction for everybody else, because when we were on the podcast, Bobby and I were talking about, I slightly changed mine because it probably would have been a Ludacris song, if I'm being honest, maybe some Lil Wayne. But I wasn't sure the insurance industry was ready for that. But I do want to ask everybody while we're talking to throw your walk-on song into the comments to keep that conversation going, because we had some really fun answers that came below the podcast as well. But to get back to topic, Bobby, you are speaking at the conference and you're talking about the ecosystem strategy for P&C carriers bringing us closer to customers. Can you talk a little bit about the insights that you think people will get as a part of that panel?
Yeah. So one of the things that I have just seen within my career, I've worked with various carriers, right? Going through multiple policy administration system transformations, building new portals for agents and for customers. And many times carriers and, anyone who's servicing the agencies or policyholders alike will take this very internal focus on like, how do we solve the problem for our carrier company or for the agency, where I think we're starting to make that shift. And what I love what we're doing in my current role and at my current company at Coterie is we're really taking like that customer-centric focus. Like, what is the why? What are we trying to solve for? And that's when innovation really comes through, when you're building those new ecosystems through digital transformation. Otherwise, you just get more of the same, right? You're just basically like digitizing the current process you have in place and kind of rethinking, like, how do you just like completely change the paradigm of how you interact with customers and how do you surprise and delight them? I pulled that is a term, that's not my term. I pulled that from Mike Hillmeyer at Coterie, but how do we surprise and delight our agents and our policyholders to make insurance seem a little bit more fun than it actually is? Because let's face it, like, no one loves to buy insurance. It's not sexy. It's not something I want to spend time doing, nor do any of our customers. So I'm excited just to kind of share like how you might be able to do that and shifting both like the culture and the thought process and injecting innovation into your company so you can really get at the customer experience and not at what's best for us and what's going to work internally just from a process standpoint.
So one, we're on a mission here with this event and things like ITI to change that perception of the fact that we're not fun, because we're fun. I mean, we listen to Lil Wayne and Juvenile. It's pretty fun. We just also protect against risk and do kind of serious things sometimes. But thank you so much for joining me, Bobby. It was a pleasure to be on the other side of the interviewing chair with you today. And I can't wait to see you again in person in June. And for anybody that's got any questions for Bobby, throw them into the chat if you're not already. Make your way over to her LinkedIn, give her a follow, and make sure, again, we're going to keep putting that link in the chat for everybody to share the post for the chance for that almost $3,000 ticket for everybody to join us in person for the event. But thank you, Bobby. Have a wonderful day. And I'm going to Julia. Hello and welcome.
Hello, Emma. How are you?
Good. I like that you've even got the New York background. You're ready to go for this.
I'm ready. Yes, my background.
Perfect. So before I ask you my question, can I have you give everybody a real quick introduction?
Sure. My name is Tony Liu. I'm one of the co-founders of InsurTech NY. And we do a number of different things in the InsurTech community to connect people, including events, accelerators, and we also have a venture capital fund where we make investments in seed-stage InsurTechs.
Great. Well, it's actually our first time officially meeting. We've done a lot of back and forth getting ready for this event, but we've never had the opportunity to meet. So thank you for joining us. And I teased it when Veronica was on that we were going to bring you guys on, and David's going to be on in a little bit to talk some more about InsurTech Week. And what I want to talk with you about is there's lots of InsurTech events all around the country. What makes this one special? Because you've probably been to them all. What makes InsurTech Week tied to ITI a little bit special?
Yeah, so I think what you guys have done is actually quite brilliant. It really allows others in the ecosystem to piggyback off of your event and actually host their own small events throughout the week. And so, obviously the InsurTech Insights, the two-day conference is a really good conference, which I was able to attend last year. And I believe you guys are growing, so that's quite amazing. So I think that'll be a great two-day conference. But besides that, through the InsurTech Week, last year I was able to participate in maybe 5-6 other events that other people were hosting. And it was just a different way to connect with people. Most of them were networking events, which is great. And so to be able to connect with people that I might have missed to connect at the actual conference, because it's a big conference. You don't get a chance to meet everybody who's attending. So that's kind of special. Also, it's special for us because we were able to host our event as well as part of InsurTech Week. So last year, we wanted to do something fun. Usually our events are a bit similar to you guys in a sense. We have speakers and networking. It can be educational as well. And well, that's the point, is education and networking. But we wanted to do something fun. And so last year we did a whiskey tasting event. It was kind of an excuse for me to do some whiskey tasting along with the insurance stakeholders we know. So that was a lot of fun last year. We rented an art gallery space and had 12 whiskey bottles that we were able to taste. So that was kind of a fun event we did last year. And then this year, we're also doing a fun event as well. It's just a little bit different, but we're actually showcasing artwork of people in the insurance industry. So people who are artists, whether it's photographers or painters or what have you, we wanted to kind of showcase their artwork. And the purpose behind this is really that to show that, hey, insurance people are not boring people. These are actually interesting, entertaining, and people who are just normal, who just happen to be in insurance, which can seem dry, but if you look at the people behind the scenes, they're artists and creative people, and we wanted to kind of showcase that. And so we're gonna have 4 to 5 different artists, their work, including Jason Gross, who runs a venture capital fund, Manchester Story. is an artist, and George Woods, who's an executive at Swiss Re, among other artists, and it will be showcasing the artwork. And then we're also going to have a session, a panel, and also a TED Talk related to using creativity to serve insurance industry. And I think Dave is going to talk about that, so I won't steal his thunder.
Great. Well, I've seen some of Jason's art and I know that it's wonderful. And now it makes me curious. I want people in the comments to tell us what other like secret skills do people have? Or they're like people that woodwork or other painters or artists or singers or whatever else, because I feel like, again, going back to what Bobby and I were talking about, the insurance industry has this rap of not being that exciting, but we're really cool people. And I want everyone to highlight that in the comments. But thank you so much for joining us, Tony. And it was wonderful to meet you. And I look forward to meeting you in person in New York with your backdrop in real life. And as a reminder to everybody as well, we continue to put the link into the comments for you to share for a chance for a free ticket. And anybody who's around at the end of the show, I've got a discount code for everybody too. So there is something in it for everybody for joining us for the live event today. But thank you very much, Tony, for joining us. And now it is time to bring on Miss Sabine. Hello. How are you?
I'm good. We have a new king, so
I was going to say, joining us from across the pond to make this a multinational event, even though it's USA. Are you exhausted from celebrating the coronation?
I'm going to be honest, not.
wasn't as big of a bash as maybe it would have been otherwise.
No, it was. I mean, it was massive. I tend not to go out because it's busy. You can't go anywhere. Oh, yeah. So it was a major celebration. How are you, Emma?
I'm good. I've got my, I told my husband I had to, I got the iced coffee is back, but I have to pace myself because the internet doesn't need me fully caffeinated for one of these. I'm only halfway through and this is the energy level. So that'll keep me going for the rest of the day. Again, similar to what I said to Lisa, I don't know how much of an introduction you truly need, but can you give everybody a real quick introduction before we dive into my question for you?
Yeah, so I'm Sabine van der Linden. Some people call me the InsurTech Queen. And the main reason is because I've accelerated a lot of startups and helped them raise a lot of money. And I build venture labs for great insurance companies. Commercialization lab, teach you how to adopt startup in the right way. And I've been doing that for quite a while. People who know me in Europe know that I build Startup Bootcamp in InsurTech London, and I'm also supporting the build of the InsurTech Accelerator in Hartford, Connecticut, too.
Well, I'm so glad to have you here. And so we're going to talk a little bit about a different topic that we haven't touched on yet. We've talked about customers and all the rest of it. We're going to talk a little bit about cybercrime. So I saw you make a post and I want to make sure I've got this right. So the World Economic Forum said that 50% of the future digital value will have to deal with cybercrime. Can you talk a little bit about why that's a big deal and what we should be doing to kind of prepare for that?
Yeah, I think it's very important to really understand those numbers. And so the reason I dive into that specific item around digital economy and digital ecosystem and being able to really understand that all the things we are doing with technology is super important is that, yes, according to the World Economic Forum, right now, 15 trillion of value is being generated today by the digital economy. That is going to move to 21 trillion in 2025. Right now, around 6 trillion of that number, so 41%, is actually driven by cyber crime, cyber attack, this cyber economy. And by 2025, it will be 50%. So the number is going to increase. So I think when we look at the digital economy, it's very important to understand everything is connected. It's not just about the digital technology we're using every day. It is also about addressing the risk around it. And that's why cyber, and I know Alexis will be happy with me, that's why cyber is so important. I was very fortunate recently to talk with Florian Griot from Astoria, Magda Hamada from WTW, and Cornelius Vogel from Google on that very specific topic. And if you think that everything is connected, and the positive things is the data we use, the business models we need to look at, and I know Lisa would be very happy with me that business model is becoming dynamic, right? We talk about ChatGPT and generative AI. I'm very lucky to try all this really cool tool, and I cannot wait to write an article soon around all the stuff I'm doing with this great technology. Well, we need to start understanding the implication. While the positive is around personalization and as a service business model, it actually creates meaty emerging risk. So if people know what I'm talking about, Florian said, what you call emerging risk are new risks, Sabine. Yes, the new risk, the emerging one. Those are actually driven by new people. You know, the creator, think about the creator, the digital nomad, the gig workers, all those people will not do just one job. They will do multiple jobs. Business model, we need to start looking at on-demand, parametrics, embedded in much deeper ways, but also looking at commercial lines and sustainability. And I love what Magda told me is blockchain, DeFi, and are enabling those digital business models. And so enabling as well a more sustainable world. When we look at technology, we tend to think about those green or non-green data centers, but actually a lot of compliance is coming around the digital economy, and technology now needs to be green as well. So in whole, digital brings a lot of opportunities, but also a lot of risk, Emma.
I know, and I'm sure, you know what, we probably need to team up for a longer form interview to dive into all of this in more detail because 5 minutes just isn't enough. But thank you so much for joining us, Sabine. And if anybody's got questions, make sure you put them in the comments. If you're not already, give Sabine a follow. She's posting really valuable content all around this idea and many others on a regular basis. So you can join into the conversation there as well. But thank you very much. And now it's time to swap you out and bring on Nigel. So have a wonderful day, Sabine. Hello and welcome.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic, thank you. You've got me following the InsurTech Queen. Is that maybe the InsurTech Prince or King? I'm not sure.
So.
I genuinely hope not.
We found ourselves something at this point. I'm the digital transformation princess, a story for another time. But so I say take the prince crown and go for it.
Whatever anyone wants, I'm totally cool with. I'm looking over the beautiful skyline of London right now. It looks very, very royal, to say the least. So how's that?
I was going to say, are you tired from celebrating the coronation?
I am. Unlike Sabine, who just committed treason, I did celebrate it. We had a great royal knees up. I baked cakes. We had family round. We moaned through the entire ceremony. So proper English style, looking at how it all went. But it was fantastic. It was great to see.
Great. Well, I'm going to ask you to do a real quick introduction for anyone that doesn't know you, and then we'll dive into the question I've got for you.
So very quickly, King Nigel, I wish. No, I don't wish, actually. So Nigel Walsh, I lead insurance at Google Cloud based out of our Chelsea office in New York.
Wonderful. Well, so we're going to change the pace a little bit here because we're on a mission to hype up the event, get everyone really excited, give away free tickets. We're doing all these things, but there's also another side to events. And I made a joke of it a couple of months ago. I always have a blast when I'm at events. I always feel like I take away something. But I did see a post from a friend of mine who said something about like, the event was dreadful. We took a picture that made us look a little lighter than we actually are. We posted it and like took the one takeaway that we had and put it into our LinkedIn post. And there are some people that aren't, sure of how to make the most of events or feel like they're getting some like constructive back and forth conversation. So I want to talk to you a little bit about advice that you have to make sure that we're getting the most out of these events when we're going to them to make them really valuable.
Yeah, this is one that's very pertinent and passionate to me as well, because I think pre-pandemic we had a whole host of events popping up and there was almost too many. I don't want to be, Nigel Downer on this one, but there was almost too many events out there. It was hard to work out which ones to go to. Everyone turned up at the same things, and it was almost the same old merry-go-round. So how do I get the most out of those? And you mentioned Taylor Swift there. I'm dying to get Taylor Swift tickets. So if we can win those, please, Megan, I will definitely be up for those. But when you go to any concert, my wife meticulously plans when we're grabbing food, what songs we're going to grab a loo break in, and everything else. And I think these are no different. Work out which panels you want to go and see and why. Or more importantly, I've been to a whole host of events where people never saw, people are going to kill me for this, never went to a single bit of content. They actually turned up and they just networked like hell with purposeful pre-made introductions and meetings where they look to genuinely move that needle forward. And I'm a great believer of A, rebuilding the network post the pandemic, but B, making sure we're there with purpose to actually say, what is it we're here to do? To build a network, to grow our business, to move a deal forward. And how can we do that when we're in person together? Nothing in my mind beats those in-person events. It actually, it reminds me, there was an article in the Wall Street Journal back in, I think it was July 2022. We'd all just come out of the pandemic, and it talks about parents piling into work conferences to escape their families. Well, I think we're a year past that. Now is the time to get back to conferences to actually do business. And more importantly, how do we accelerate the pace of change inside insurance? And I mean that for people attending, and I mean that for people standing on stage, interviewing, or panels. I am not prepared to turn up for another panel where we're all going to be in violent agreement. Be controversial, challenge the norms, move things forward. So I would very much encourage everyone to be a little bolder, be a bit more brave, and just challenge the status quo.
I think that's great advice. And I've seen events too, where, to your point, if you do the legwork on the front end, you can make an event incredibly valuable for yourself. And it's not all just sitting in a session back to back. It's the collection of being able to get content that's valuable and pertinent to you, as well as building and maintaining your network. And I think that that's to me, that networking piece and being able to leverage that in-person time when we have it is incredibly valuable, because it's not every day that you're meeting with people in person anymore.
No, I completely agree. And I think one of the things I'm delighted to see the team have done this year is there's a whole bunch of fun events as well. It doesn't need to revolve around alcohol. Lots of it's now revolving around exercise and fun and whatever else. So I think there's something for everyone, whatever fills your cup, which was the term earlier. If that gets you excited, great. Use those to go and meet people and go hang out with people that you don't get to see normally. So use them accordingly. It's a great opportunity to go do so.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I've already been talking too much with everybody, and we're a couple minutes behind, so I got to get back onto my schedule. So wonderful to see you. If you're not already, make sure you make your way over to follow Nigel and join us live with the event in New York. And I'm going to bring Paul on. Thank you, Nigel. Hello, Mr. Paul. How are you? Welcome.
Hey, good. How are you? Hey, I think Nigel was not entirely truthful about what he was doing, because I saw him do his Peloton workout the day of the coronation. So what's up with that?
he found that blend of the things that bring him joy, both the
That's
party and the exercise. Because he didn't say it, but I think he's both team yoga and team run from the posts that I've seen. So he's like really over and above what the rest of us
Family Fitness, or FamFit on Twitter. Yeah, it was good. It was great during the whole pandemic to get everybody just connecting in different ways, in unexpected ways through all this. So power of influence, Emma.
There we go. So Paul, can you give everybody an introduction before I get to the question that I've got for you?
Sure. Yeah, I'm Paul Tyler. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for NASA Financial Group. We're based in Hartford, Connecticut. We sell annuities, which are retirement products for people who don't know, and Medicare supplement insurance, which is a unique product in the U.S. with our more complex health market. In addition, I founded an incubator here in the Hartford community about 4 years ago, and we're continuing to do some just fun stuff with a lot of the great people on this show you put together.
Well, I get to be on the other side. So last week when we were in Hartford, you did a little interview with me, and actually kind of tied to this topic that we're going to be talking about today.
Absolutely.
So for anybody that doesn't know, I do some TikToks and I make a fool of myself on the internet on a regular basis. and Paul joined me for one last week, and the podcast has got their own TikTok. But we got to talking about how big of an opportunity we think changes to media behavior and buying behavior is going to have within the insurance industry. So Paul, can you tell everybody a little bit about what you think the future of insurance sales is going to look like and how that ties to the idea of TikTok or other short form content?
Yeah, I think if there were two ideas that people could take away from this, it would be one is, put this as a formula, agents equal influencers, parentheses, online too, okay? And second rule is online influencers should be insurance agents, and why is that? First off, if we dial the clock back, 40, 50, 60 years, and we pulled up an agent recruiting presentation, I bet I could find this someplace in the archives if we still have them. I'm sure it would be there. But who do you recruit to be an insurance agent? And they use the word centers of influence, somebody who's got a community, a natural market to sell insurance, because selling insurance is hard, and you need to be tightly connected with a community. And this has been true from the start of selling insurance, at least here in the U.S. And just remember, nobody ever sold life insurance or annuities by putting billboards up on the side of the road. Same thing is true today. Who's your community? Facebook, Instagram, TikTok is all, this is how people are connecting with people today. And I think if you're a good agent and you've got that center of influence, the opportunity is to extend your business in the right way to that market. Why not leverage those connections you have? Now, the flip side of that is, if you're an online influencer, why aren't you helping promote insurance? There's a monetary reason to do it. The margins are a lot higher selling a life insurance policy or an annuity contract than there are probably doing referral links for lipstick. Now, the bigger purpose is meaning and impact. Think of all those awful GoFundMe pages we've seen, floating about. It's because somebody didn't talk to them about getting insurance, in 90 to 95% of those cases. Why not? Let's put GoFundMe out of business. So the opportunity is really big. What's holding people back, I think, and we can talk more about this, Emma. This is, something, I'd love to go deeper with you on. Is problem number one is, most agents, and I'm saying not all, there's some agents who are very good at digital marketing. A lot of people would like to be good at digital marketing using their creating an online presence, but they don't know how to do it. And it takes changes, takes behavior, requires changing habits. For those of, the influencers who've got 100,000 followers, 1 million followers, 2 million, why aren't they doing this? Insurance is kind of tough to understand. How do you talk about it? How do you set it up? It's not like selling a water bottle, but it has a lot more significance. So I think there's a lot of opportunity both on the agent side, helping them take the next steps forward, which you're right out on the tip of the spear. And then how do we evangelize more about the ability to sell products like annuities? We've made it really easy for influencers to sell annuities, market them, position them online. How do we get them so they actually pay attention to us and want to actually invest the time to learn about our product?
People were really resonating with that idea of center of influence in the chat. And I think that you're right. And we've been trading messages back and forth of different agents that we see doing this really well on TikTok. And there is certainly an opportunity. People think that because TikTok started with young people, that it's not going to kind of infiltrate. But if you think about when Facebook first came around, it was meant for college students and college students alone. And look at what it's become now. So there's a huge opportunity. And we will probably have to find some more time to talk about this, Paul, because I think we could go on and on. But thank you so much for joining us. And it was a pleasure to team up with you again so quickly on the heels of our
likewise
last week. But have a wonderful day. And I'm going to bring David on now.
Great. Thanks.
All right. Welcome to the live stream, David. How's it going?
It's great. It's good to see you, Emma. I know we had a chance to film a TikTok together last week, so hopefully you got some good traffic on that. And it's fun to be following in the heels of Paul. It sounds like he's giving you a little challenge. Maybe you need to be on the agent and broker side at some point.
That's true. He did kind of throw down a gauntlet, but I also want to like go back for a second. You didn't just be a part of the TikTok. I think you won the competition of favorite portion of the TikTok based off of what we saw coming through in the comments. So anybody that didn't watch that, go back and look at last week's compilation from InsurTech Hartford, and David won our dance competition at the end of that TikTok.
Well, maybe this is an ask to get some more votes.
There we go. Before we dive to the question that I've got for you, David, can you give everyone an introduction?
Yeah, of course. So those of you who have been on earlier, you heard from Tony about InsurTech New York, but I'm David Gritz, the other co-founder of InsurTech New York. We're the largest InsurTech community in North America. We run insurance accelerators, events, and now a venture capital fund. So that's a little bit about us and myself.
Great. So what I want to talk about is a little bit about what you guys are doing to address the underlying markets within the InsurTech space, and what people can expect tied to that idea as a part of InsurTech Week.
Yeah, sure. So during InsurTech Week, we're running the event that Tony talked about, the art of distribution. And we have a panel that's specifically about underserved markets. So we want to kind of eat our own dog food here. So anyone who joins the event, we're going to be donating your registrations to charities that serve underserved markets in insurance. But this is something that's like really important to us as an organization and me personally, because if you think about insurance, it kind of sits on two sides of the fence. Either it's legally required, like workers' compensation or auto, or it's a luxury product. Paul kind of hinted to that a little bit. You know, most of the people buying annuities already have some lump sum of money that they have kind of socked away, and they're using it for income in their retirement. But oftentimes, a lot of insurance products don't truly serve the risk transfer needs of people that otherwise can't manage the risk. And like Paul mentioned, like people end up having to go to GoFundMe because they didn't end up purchasing the right insurance products. And I think a lot of that comes down to us as an industry not doing a really good job of getting to those underserved markets. So on the panel we'll have during the Art of Distribution event, we're going to be talking about a number of issues. So how can we tackle low face value life insurance policies? And we'll be looking at startups like, Mammoth Life or Everyday Life that tackle that. How can we offer auto insurance to non-English speakers? We'll have Randall, who was one of the underwriters at Seago and now is at Swiss Re. We'll be talking about how to get into, some of the lower value homes, like manufactured homes, and talking about CoverTree. And of course, we couldn't complete things without having to talk about natural disasters and catastrophes. So we'll also talk about wildfires and companies like Delos serving those markets.
Well, great. And echoing what Nicole said, it's great to hear that you guys are going to be doing something that gives back to the community. And that really speaks to the central idea behind insurance. So that's really great. And I look forward to seeing you in New York in a couple of weeks. If you're not already, make sure that you follow David, and we'll continue to put the link for people to win a free ticket to come join us. And like I've teased a couple of times now too, I will have a promo code for everybody for 25% off to join us in person as well. But thank you so much for your time, David, and have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Emma.
All right. Jeff, hello, and welcome to the live stream. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Can you give everybody a real quick introduction before we get going?
Yeah, my name is Jeff Shi, founder of InsurTech Groups, and we are a digital agency focusing on Google first page and not just disrupting the industry, but really just using technology, all the technology that's out there, enhancing the client experience when they buy auto, home, commercial, and life insurance.
Well, thank you very much for joining us again for another live event. So where I want to take the conversation, so you've heard some chatter about like annuities and that type of thing and the retirement side of things. But we want to kind of shift that retirement conversation and talk a little bit about the potential impact of the boomer generation getting older and just like our society in general aging and what impact that's going to have within the insurance industry.
Sure. I think a lot of people talking about the sunrise. So I'm on a panel, moderating panel at InsurTech Insights coming up. Shout out to Megan, InsurTech Insights, June 7th, June 8th. And the panel is about how to go grab Gen Z, right? And the upcoming generation, the people that's currently 18 years old, etc. But there's a bigger issue here, which is the boomer generation. This is one of the most profitable group of insured for all the carriers, whether legacy carriers, InsurTech carriers, regional carriers, etc. But here's some statistics. By 2030, there's going to be 75 million Americans crossing the age of 65 years old. The last boomer will cross 65. And I think some statistics out there is by 2035, there'll be over 129 million Americans, which represent a huge demographic of our population. And then, before a lot of people want to go after the ultra preferred group of clients, and the thing was always 2 cars and 1 home, right? And I think that's going to dramatically change. Insurance carrier going to have to find new ways to say, hey, you know what? There's going to be underwriting for every single type of risk, and we have to figure out a way to make money with every single type of risk. The last 18 months, we have over 5.8 million population came across the southern border. Which side of the politics you are on about the immigrants that have come over to our country, and that's not even including the legal immigrations, right? Like from Asia, from Europe, etc. Our demographic is going to change. There's no doubt about it. And I think, speaking on current event, Title 42 ends this Thursday, which is the deportation, due to COVID. And there's about, on average, they estimate between 100 to 150,000 of people crossing our southern border every single day from Thursday on. And a lot of insurance companies going to say, hey, you know what? There are insured risk, whether renter, home, or auto, and you have to figure out a way of how to insure them, because our duty as insurance companies, insurance brokers, our job is to figure out there's risk and how do we properly protect people. So between the 72 million boomers that's going to be coming up and then sunsetting, and then the new generation of immigrants and crossing the border from the southern border, insurance companies have a lot of challenges on their hand. I'll try to figure out, hey, how do we handle the new way of insurance?
It's more than just people retiring from the industry that we need to be having the conversation about. And so I think that's a great way to kind of bring it forward. And as we're having all of these generational discussions, I think that this is an important perspective to discuss as well. So thank you very much for joining us, Jeff. I also saw Tony, who joined us, and this is a big comment, but again, more on engaging millennials. The panel will be focused on engaging Gen Z. So there's lots of conversation to have about all of the different ages and generations and what we need to be doing as an industry to respond to it. If you're not already, make sure you give Jeff a follow and plan to come join us live in New York in June. We've got, again, the link in the chat for people to share the post for a chance to win a free ticket. And we'll have a discount code for everybody to join us live as well here shortly. But thank you very much, Jeff, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Now we've got Mr. Philip Morris in the house. How's it going?
Thank you. Hello, and thanks for having me, Emma.
So today we're first, let's get to an introduction real quick. Can you share who you are with everyone?
Sure, I most definitely will. I am Philip Morris, the industry's ambassador to fun, and as Emma says, her ultimate hype man. I'm also the VP of Business Development for Eberl Claims Service, and we're one of the nation's leading claim management service providers, and we provide flexible end-to-end solutions that go beyond just adjusting and third-party administration and ultimately power the entire P&C ecosystem.
Real talk, though. Anybody that needs somebody to hype them up and get them ready to go for the world. Philip, Lisa Wardlaw, Megan, and Megan. Those 4, you have them in your life and you won't know what happened all of a sudden.
Your text messages will always be full. I'll tell you that much.
So you're our ambassador to the rest of the insurance industry. So when we did this event back in December, we touched on a bit more of the whole ecosystem, but because we're focused on InsurTech Insights, we brought forward a lot of people focused on technology today. And Eberl uses technology. You guys have a platforms component to what you guys do, but you're in a bit more of the traditional side of the business. But you're going to be joining us in New York as a first-time attendee to ITI. So I wanted to kind of pick your brain on what you see as the value for people that aren't necessarily InsurTechs themselves. What are you looking forward to as a part of the event?
Yeah, so basically, as a first-time attendee of ITI, I'm excited to be a part of, a greater community of like-minded individuals. As you talked about, on my side of the business, we're the adjacents, and there are a lot of us, and there are a lot of people that are looking, left and right because we're not directly InsurTech, but I think a lot of people can gain value on seeing where the intersection of technology and insurance meet, but finding out and learning from their peers who are at the forefront of what's to come. And so for me, I'm looking forward to learning about not only the latest trends and the latest innovations in InsurTech, but hearing from the experts and the thought leaders about the challenges and opportunities that the industry faces. You're muted, Emma, for the first time.
I came on to say, I hit the button and then I was saying, I'm really bad at not being muted, and then I muted myself again.
I knew it was coming.
I think it might be your influence. I'm pretty sure when you co-hosted it happened a whole bunch, so it must be your fault. I'm going to go ahead and opt towards that.
I'll take it.
Thank you for joining me, Philip. And for anybody that wants to come hang out with us live, as I've been saying, we've got the link in the comments in the link. One more time. The link in the comments for you to share, to come join us live and hang out with us in person. And Megan can certainly share more about this as we get closer to the event, but she's got some special surprises up her sleeve for all of us to have a space to converge and interact and get a chance to meet in real life. And who knows, maybe we'll end up having some trucker hats to hand out or something like that.
Right.
Thank you for joining me, Philip. And I'm going to bring on Brian and round out our extravaganza. Have a good day, Phil. Oh my goodness, look at this character.
Basking in the sun. It made all my hair fall out. How's it going?
I was going to say, but you look a little different than when I saw you last week.
I did. Yeah. It was time for a change. Every now and then, a fresh start, just like the industry needs.
I don't know if I could pull that off. I could try, but I'm pretty attached.
Please don't. Yeah, don't. I'm going to live vicariously through you and your hair. And I appreciate how much the wheels just came off with mute and everything, because it just lowered the bar for how I need to do. So awesome.
I always talk about how important authenticity is, and not being perfect. Perfect is boring. We'd be boring if we didn't have a little bit of spice in our life, right,
That's
Brian?
right. That's right.
So can you give everybody an introduction if they don't know who you are?
Sure. So I'm Brian Falchuk. I am, by day, I'm the president and CEO of PLRB. And by night, I fight crime. That's my new joke, but I don't. By night, I write books and host podcasts and some other stuff all about the future of insurance, trying to help the industry move forward. And that's from working at carriers for a long time, working for a startup for a bit, which is where I got all my Hawaiian shirts. And just spending the past few years kind of bringing that together to try to help both sides of the equation move forward, because we need some change in the industry.
Megan wants to know Nicole wants to know if it's got a little too hot in your
It has. Yes, it definitely has. And we had a lot of rain in Boston for a while, and it's like gorgeous and sunny this week. So I'm taking it all in.
So one quick question too, before we get to like my real question for you. Working at the startups, were your Hawaiian shirts Friday wear? Yeah.
I don't remember what day of the week Hawaiian shirts were. And then there was also like a wolf shirt day.
Ooh.
I didn't get on that train.
Clearly I need to get my husband working for a startup. I mean, he's got his own business, so it's kind of a startup, but he's got a party shirt that's his. I should have wore his shirt today.
See?
Missed opportunity. But he's got one that he wears on Fridays. And back in college, he did have like that really ridiculous 3 wolves howling at the moon t-shirt. We'll have to ask Philip's seen that picture before about college with those shirts. So back to topic at hand here.
Yes.
When we had our last interview, we talked a little bit about, and this is how it kind of ties together with InsurTech New York. We talked about this survey that you had worked on in tandem with David and Tony and their team, trying to kind of really dig into what makes a successful partnership between a carrier and a startup.
Yeah.
And since we last spoke, you've done a thing or two with that survey. So can you share a little bit about what you've done with that survey and what it's turning into?
Yeah, and what I would say, the point of the survey was we asked like hundreds of insurtechs to tell us about what it was like working with all the different carriers that they work with, and we got literally hundreds of responses, which is awesome. And we were asked about like what matters most to the outcome, like what makes for a more or less successful partnership. You know, you got your goal in sight. Well, what helps to deliver on that goal in the time frame and the budget that you anticipated versus the things that get in the way, get sticky, unforeseen, or that you could have anticipated. And the idea being, can we learn something about that? And can we help teach the industry, these are the things that matter and you should take action on or rethink as you go into, you know, buying that next solution, partnering with another player, et cetera. And especially when you've got like old and new school kind of cultures coming together. What we found is, the data is interesting. The survey is interesting and valuable, but there's like so much next level detail that you really need to, at least for me, to be able to take that data and say, well, how would this apply to my life? And also to not just like look at the data and say, yeah, but we've got these issues. And so we couldn't actually make a change there. And the way I like to address that is by telling stories of people who actually did it. Like, let's get into a real life, like firsthand account of the ups and downs of a carrier and an insurtech solution provider trying to do something. And if you don't know where I'm going, that's kind of the basis of my whole Future of Insurance book series. And so in the spirit of partnership, I worked with David Gritz and we put together a new book. So a new Future of Insurance book that's coming out literally in 1 month from yesterday, but it's available for pre-order now. And it's volume 3 in the Future of Insurance series. And it's all stories of traditional insurers and InsurTech coming together to do something. And it's a mix of different kinds of solutions, different use cases, business segments, some included investment, most didn't, but like all these different nuances. And they're told from the real, like the actual people who lived through them. It's not me like combing through press releases and sanitize, like it's the real stories, the ups, the downs, the goods, the bads. And I think through that, we can all learn something. And what I hope people are left with is this notion that what if we were to just, you know, sort of allow for the possibility that things could work and could work better. And if we went in with that mindset, what would we have to change to make sure that happens? And are we willing to do that? And I hope the answer is yes, because if it isn't, it really doesn't matter what tech you choose. It's not going to work out well. And you'll just be in that same cycle of like, oh, it took twice as long and we got less than we hoped for and it cost twice as much. And we just need to break that cycle. And the cool thing is we actually can. And hopefully these stories help shed a light on the ways we can all do that. So very exciting, Future of Insurance Volume 3. And people can pre-order it now. It's already the #1 new release in insurance.
I was ready to hype you up with that if you didn't say it. So.
Well, and like secret sauce, there's not a lot of books in insurance. So it doesn't take many sales to get there, but it's there and pre-orders are coming in. And we're actually, I've got some launch event, like in-person stuff that's coming up in different cities. So people can watch for that too.
Well, if Nigel and I can crown ourselves prince and princess, I think you can say bestseller, even with the caveat of not the biggest market in the world.
I thought, like, keeping with the Royals, I thought you were going to say, like, court jester, which, like, yeah, the shirt sort of fits, but no, all right.
You did cause quite a ruckus with the lack of hair because people saw you last week with a full head of hair.
Right. And they're like, there's some weird guy.
Yeah. I saw a video of your podcast yesterday with Amy Cooper from Rise, which she's got a really great event coming up soon, too. But I saw your bald head and I was like, oh, that must be old because I had just seen you a couple of days ago. Well, thank you, Brian, for joining me. And thank you, everybody, for joining us for the live stream. Brian is my last guest of the extravaganza. Megan just put the link for everybody to share that post again. LinkedIn doesn't allow links in the comments very easily, so you're not going to be able to just click it. You've got to copy and paste it. It'll bring you to a post. Reshare that post. And then we will be taking a look at who reshared that post to give away a free ticket. And as promised for everybody that's hung on, anybody that would like to join us and doesn't want to necessarily wait for that free ticket, when you register for ITI, if you use the code EMMA with one M, EMA VIP, you will get 25% off of your registration for the show as well. So everybody wins for joining us for the conversation beyond the fun and personality that we bring to the stage today. But thank you everybody so much for joining us. I see literally hundreds of comments that have come through during our time together, which makes these events so much more fun. And we hope to get everybody or as many people as we can in person in New York. But Brian, thank you for joining us, and thank you everybody, and have a wonderful day.